Are we
We are
live?
live.
Are we
We are
live?
large and in charge, like Garfield.
Yeah. He
Now we
sits
just have to
around the
figure out
house.
where this is broadcasting from. Sits around the house, right?
Get it? Get it?
Right.
Get it?
Yeah, let's go see here real quick.
Beep boop. Beep 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 boop. Beep boop.
My
Beep
channel
beep beep beep.
does not appear to be showing up on my channel.
Yeah.
So let's go to.
Flibbity dee. Flibbity
Yeah,
doo.
we're live now on my YouTube, my personal YouTube channel.
Oh, okay.
There I am. That is
So
There you
frightening.
you gonna
go.
tweet that up?
Right.
Yeah, if you could, um, if you just look up my name on YouTube, it'll give you the link.
Okay. Probably that should come from Phil because I know that he has
Yes.
followers. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Let's see
hopefully somebody will
here.
pick it up and retweet it, or you
Is it
can
is
do
it
it.
just the Generation 16 page?
No, it's not. If it's you, I don't know what the actual channel URL is, but it's just my name. If you just go on YouTube and type in Greg Stewart, it'll pop up with that channel.
Greg.
Yeah. And before you
Stewart.
guys have the audiences coming in, I will say it was really cool to see that your placement on iTunes has stayed there. It's not a fluke. It's
Yeah, it's weird,
that's
right?
it's great. That's great, man.
I don't know what new process they're using to make those rankings, but it's nice to know we're gaming it without even knowing it.
Right. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see here.
And I'm going to you over here. Oh, look at that. Man, I am multitasking like a ma.
You know what? Give me 1 second. I will be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Good. All right.
Let's see. Pop, pop, pop.
What the hell was that?
What?
Oh, I have a Night Trap Dangerous Games documentary tab pinned, and it just started playing.
Eerie.
It was Erie, Indiana.
What number episode is this?
494.
494.
All right.
Number 494.
Starting a half hour late, CJ would be so proud.
There we go. Do you have
Megatron's
access?
Classics.
Do you have access to the P1 Twitter?
I probably should. I don't know.
I just retweeted I just tweeted so you could.
I'll at least retweet with my
Okay.
blabber anyway. And then I'm just gonna, because I'm sure CJ's not busy. Poor CJ. Even when he's away, he has to work on the show. He's editing the whole thing. Okay, so I'm gonna start recording.
Oh, I should do the same. There I am recording on my microphone, and we will do a Player One show. It is going to be wonderful. It's nice because CJ's not here.
Wow, really?
Well, it was the only thing that rhymed.
Oh, that didn't really rhyme.
Just stifle it, you.
Our public school system. Your public school system.
What?
You're not in
What?
public school, are you?
No. Nope. Private
So
school.
people actually pay money to have their children learn from you. That's messed up.
Yep.
Poor people.
Yep.
How would they have known what they were getting into?
Getting
Okay,
that
we all
money's worth. Yeah, dude.
Duh.
Yeah.
Let's do a clap.
Oh,
Let's give each
yeah.
other the clap. Ready?
Okay. Here we
Again.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1. That felt like it wasn't even close, but you know what? Let's go with it.
I like it.
I like a lot. All right. Hello and welcome to episode 494 of the Player One podcast for Tuesday, April 26th, 2016. I am not your host, Chris Johnston. Chris is traveling, using all our Patreon money to jet off to sunny places like
Hookers and blow.
Boston. Hookers and blow. It's all hookers and blow. CJ's at PAX East. He's not using the Patreon money to do that, by the way, that we know of. I am your host, Greg Seward, because nobody wanted to let Phil do it. Joining me, as always, is our favorite co-host from the West Coast, Phil Theobald.
Hi. How's it
Phil.
going? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
How you doing? How you fellas doing today? You guys having a good time?
That's the voice that I expect to come out of your frame.
Well, thank you very much. Pleased to be of service. Anything I can do to help you, I'm right here.
And joining us, special guest host. He's becoming more of a regular. We might have to give him the fourth chair permanently. Mr. Ethan Einhorn.
Hey, good to be back, guys.
Hi, Ethan.
Yeah, great to have you.
Yeah. Thank God somebody on here can talk about video games, because we don't. Now that we're up into that second spot, we're really letting our game slide. It's like, we've made it. We're never going to be Giant Bomb, so really, what is there to work for at this point?
Nothing else to do.
First losers.
Yeah.
That's what second place is.
That's weird, man.
It's true. It's
No,
racing
it's
factor.
I'm saying it's weird that we somehow got up to number 2 on iTunes. That's
Yeah.
I don't. It's weird, man.
It's I don't know. I don't know what they did to screw up their system, but
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
We're gonna enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah.
All 10 people who listen to this show are very excited that they're listening to something so popular.
Exactly.
Let's jump into some news here. Ethan was kind enough to add a bunch of stuff on here. He added a possible topic of discussion that I might leave for a little bit later because I honestly haven't read it yet. But we're gonna
Well, that's
move on
because
to.
Ethan's writing friggin' novels in our
I
show
know,
notes.
right? You remember when we cared about the show like this, Phil?
I do not.
You never did. Okay.
That was
There was
maybe
a point this
9
season when I cared about that.
9 years ago.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So. But
So
Ethan's
anyway.
fresh-faced, and
Yeah.
he's got the youthfulness and vigor of a 20-something-year-old man.
Yeah. He's not an old jaded broadcaster like the
Yeah.
likes of us.
Yeah. Got the ashtray right here, and
Yeah.
like the dude from When Endless Summer, listening to the radio. Actually, he wasn't the broadcaster. Anyway, Ethan.
Yep.
You got some interesting stuff on here. Games Industry Biz, an article there asking, have Toys to Life peaked? And there's some stats here that says that they only saw 7% growth this year, despite the Dimensions launch, which I guess this means that Dimensions didn't do all that well?
Well, if you've gone into a Lego store, that once $100 package is now $50, and that's for the base pack and everything. Yep.
How long has it been $50 though? Because I mean, they did release their last packs last month or the month before.
There's one more wave coming.
Oh, is there? I thought that the Midway one was the last wave.
No. May has a couple. No new level packs, but there's a couple. Like the Slimer
Oh, who cares?
figure pack is coming. Slimer.
Whatever. Slimer.
And
Is there a Lewis Tully pack?
There is not.
See then, big fail.
There is not. But there's another. Bane. Bane
Oh,
is
God.
getting
Mm.
yeah, but it's not the good Bane. It's comic book Bane. So it's not. It's not this Bane.
There it is.
No worries there.
Well, I thought that was interesting because that's become such a large category unto itself, and I thought the Dimensions game was really, really well executed.
Yeah, me too. I'm still
yeah.
playing it.
Yeah, it's a good game.
But I mean, it's interesting to hear because like it's basically been a cash cow for Activision and Disney and does that translate to Amiibo as well? Like, I wonder.
Yeah, well, Amiibo would definitely be considered toys to life, but again, when you look at something like a 7% growth, it is still growth, and even if it means that it's basically peaking, it could be a situation where the percentage growth has changed. So my guess is it's actually been quite successful for Nintendo, and I really, really like their approach of having toys that work across a series of games. I think that's really neat. It adds value. Also, of course, we have such an affinity for the characters that Nintendo is manufacturing, and so even if they did nothing at all, they'd still be of value to us. It might be that the Skylanders series is losing audience, and Dimensions has not really gotten heavy traction or something like that. But yeah, I think overall we're not seeing explosive growth, and this is not going to be like a major new category that is going to continue to stay as healthy as it's been.
See, I'm curious about though. Like you're mentioning Skylanders, and I wonder if it was just such a juggernaut that even it falling down and Dimensions not really picking up the slack is bringing the numbers down for everybody. Because when you look at Disney Infinity, I mean, we've talked about Disney Infinity a lot on this show, and I'm not crazy about that game. I don't like their execution, although I have heard that 3.0 is better. But when you look at the characters that they're releasing, I mean, Marvel, Star Wars, and Disney.
Yep.
In general, I mean, you can't find more beloved characters in the world, So I'm wondering how they're doing, because that being said, I think they've really run through those characters. I mean, with Star Wars, I'm sure they have Episode 7 characters they can lean on at some point soon if they haven't already. But
right.
Otherwise, do you start releasing a second wave? Because I know with the original Disney characters, like there's a second Mickey Mouse on the market at this point, and but they've done Minnie and Donald, and you haven't seen. I don't think there's been Goofy or Pluto, or they can really get further into that, like Uncle Scrooge and that sort of thing as well.
Yeah,
I don't know if
that's
they
true.
have. So, be interesting to see if they're falling off as well. I think sooner or later it has to happen, though. I mean, it's got to get to the point where parents are getting a little bit sick of having to spend 10 or 13 extra dollars for this $60 game they already bought.
Well, I think I saw just in the past couple days. Is it? Oh yeah, well it's actually happening right now. The Best Buy has a bunch of the Disney Infinity figures on sale for like $4.
So they're getting ready to bring in a new wave then.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah, or they're just not moving at all. I mean, it may be a combination of both, but still, that's not a healthy sign when you see those types of dramatic price cuts.
Yeah.
Right.
So,
interesting.
Those are well-designed little pieces of plastic toy. Also, the Disney Infinity stuff is really solid.
Oh yeah, that's the best thing about. Like I'm not a crazy fan of Infinity, but the statues were great.
Yeah.
And so are the Amiibo. And I mean, Lego is Lego. I love them, but
yeah,
it's Lego.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting though to hear that. I didn't realize that it was. I mean, the bubble had to burst eventually, I guess. But I wonder if it has, or if it's just this is just a slight trough.
It's the new music game.
Yep.
Well, isn't the new music game new music games?
Touche.
You remember when? Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say I've played Guitar Hero exactly once on my Xbox One.
Yeah, and you just think back, like it wasn't that long ago when you couldn't find the Rock Band set because it was so popular.
Yeah.
On the 360. Speaking of the 360, Microsoft's gonna say Nintendo. It feels like CJ's here. We don't have any Nintendo news to talk about right now, which is great. Microsoft announced, I think this week, if it wasn't last week, they have stopped or are about to stop manufacture of the Xbox 360.
Oh.
Which gave it a manufacturing lifespan of about 11 years. It came out. It was released November 2005. Yep, and there was basically a statement saying, it's a huge part of who Microsoft Games is. Obviously, a huge success for them, but it's come to the point where it doesn't make any sense to manufacture any more of these consoles. So no more Xbox 360.
Okay.
And I would say that is still my all-time favorite game console.
Well, I was going to ask that, and that was the whole reason I brought this up, because I was interested to hear, and now you've already answered the question, Ethan. Where does that sit? Where does the 360 sit in the sort of the ranking of consoles for you? I mean, we all know that the Wii U is number one. At least officially on the Player One podcast, it is.
I would have been more willing to back CJ on that. I don't think that the Wii U tops Super Nintendo. I think that is crazy talk, but I do think that it has.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I do think it has a better overall library, certainly, than the GameCube, though. I could definitely roll with that. Yeah,
we could fight later.
Yeah, well, Mario 3D World is better than Mario Sunshine. Ultimately, the Link game, hopefully that comes out end of this year, is going to be, something that is more expansive, better than Wind Waker. And I personally think, and I know most people wouldn't agree with this, but I think that Bayonetta 2 is at least the equal of Resident Evil 4. So.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Them's big words.
That is big words. Yeah. I think Bayonetta 2
is really good.
Will age better as well. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right.
Yeah.
So going back to the 360.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's the thing. I was thinking about it myself, and it's like you don't really, because I guess it's so recent since when we were last playing our 360s. You don't really sort of think of them in the context of where does this sit in the like NES, Super Nintendo, Mega Drive, way up here. Where does it sit? Is it one of the greatest consoles of all time? Does it sit in that group?
It absolutely does. I mean, the reason I put it up top, I think, was best described by Tim Schafer in an OXM article where he said, he comes home and he doesn't decide he's going to play Halo 3. He decides he's going to play Xbox. And just that idea of you jump in and there's so many things from being able to download movies to being able to check out the Xbox Live to playing the actual game. It was the first truly effective multimedia device that was really effectively targeting core gamers with its content. They didn't push away the core gamers. They really leaned heavily into that, and that combined with all the new social stuff. Remember, it was the first thing for achievements. The ability to communicate with friends in game became much more robust. It was the big game changer, and I think the PS4 and the Xbox One are built in its image, honestly.
That's interesting. So your criteria has more to do with just the games, because I hadn't thought about it from that perspective, but that's a good point. It has more to do with sort of what it achieved outside of the gaming space. Or I guess I should say folded into the gaming space.
Yeah, but the games were amazing too. I mean, so many wonderful experiences there. So.
Right. What about you, Phil?
This is the thing about the Xbox 360. I love the Xbox 360. It's definitely one of the top systems of all time. Mainly for what I call the Holy Trilogy, if I may be a bit blasphemous. You have Crackdown.
Yep.
Of course. Mm-hmm. You have Sneak King.
I knew it.
Of course. And you have Yaris. Of course.
I still have Yaris on my system.
It's now no longer available. It's
lost the time.
It's one of those things where you could sell your system for probably several $1,000s now because
that needs to be down in that video game museum in Texas.
Exactly. I mean, it's one of the a few licensed racing games on the system. It's the only choice if you want robot tentacles on your cars.
And who doesn't?
And yeah.
What else are you gonna do with the Yaris? Really? Let's be honest. Let's not drive it.
No.
I tried that. That's no fun.
Well, I remember that Che Chow, ex-EGMer, said that playing Gran Turismo got him convinced to actually go out and buy a car that was in the Gran Turismo game. I wonder if that ever happened with anyone with Yaris, God,
I hope so. And then I hope they were so disappointed after the salesperson said, "Tentacles?"
I will say Doritos Dash of Destruction did make me want to go get some chips.
Yeah, well, fair enough.
I would just love to see the look on the car salesman's face when the customer said, "Well, see, I'm really into tentacles," and
Yeah.
Oh man.
But what would you say, Phil? Like, in all honesty, like where does the 360 sit?
No, it is. It definitely. I mean, I'm joking around about a couple crappy games, but no, the Xbox 360 was a fantastic. I mean, it still is a fantastic system. It was certainly my of that generation, probably the one I played most.
Yep.
You know, between
Yeah, I
that
would
and
say for me
the
too,
PlayStation equivalent. Most of what I was playing was on the 360 for any of the multi-system stuff, and yeah, just what they were doing with Xbox Live Arcade and stuff like that. All the downloadable games was really great, and yeah, the controller. I liked the controller, and
I mean, I have to agree. It's definitely one of the greatest systems of all time. I would have trouble putting it ahead of something like the PlayStation 2, but
right.
But you know, it's like you said, Ethan. I mean, I guess it depends on your criteria, and it did change the landscape, which
Yeah, and
PlayStation 2 didn't really do. Although it kind of started to go that route along, you know, especially because of the DVD drive.
yeah,
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that definitely was important for that. But I mean, again, you look at the library as well. Even if you're just talking games, that's where I played Red Dead Redemption. That's where
Yeah.
Call of Duty 4 changed what the first-person shooter genre was all about. You know, that is where I played Oblivion and fell in love with the Elder Scrolls. There's just so many great experiences. That's where Lara Croft got reintroduced in her most compelling version yet, and the Halo games were great on that. I mean, there's just so much incredible content that I could spend a lifetime playing just 360 games and be pretty happy, and they age really well. You pop in something like Gears of War, and it looks great, even if it's the original one. That's a really interesting thing too, because I know you guys are talking about not wanting to see the style of PS1 and 64 type visuals come back in games for retro designers, right? Because those don't age very well. Those games look terrible. But I think that Xbox 360 and PS3, by extension, those games are going to stand the test of time much more closely to the way SNES has stood the test of time.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although it's interesting when you really think about it. Now that we're talking about it some more, it was a really pivotal generation, and for all the good that it brought us, it also introduced things like day one patches.
Yep.
And season passes, which they're not the same thing that they were when season passes were introduced to the whole system. They were pretty nefarious, but they've gotten better. But yeah, it's introduced a little bit of bad as well, definitely.
Three
it
Red
wasn't the
Rings.
360, it was that generation.
Yeah, the 3 Red Rings of Death.
That to me is one of the major points of the legacy of the 360, and not because it was unreliable hardware, but it's true because most people, like anyone who was a hardcore gamer that especially had a system from launch,
Yep.
they didn't go through one system. They went through like 3 or 4 systems.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Almost everybody you know had at least 2 or 3 Red Ring systems.
Yep.
And what's amazing to me is that there was some bad press, but not nearly as much as you think there should have been.
Yeah.
Like Microsoft spun that so expertly, and I don't know, I still can't tell you how they did it. But I mean, they should have been reeling from that. Like that should have been the point where everyone went out and bought a PlayStation 3.
Yep.
And it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like, it's pretty incredible, really.
Well, I think also when you look at the legacy of the machine, the other thing that's interesting to note that we didn't touch on, which is so central to how the machine ended up being defined, was Kinect. Right? Remember when they did that whole big relaunch of the system, and now it's practically a new system because it has Kinect. And I don't like Kinect, but man, it was successful in its first incarnation. Got people really excited about it, and was part of the identity of the machine.
Yep, very true. Very true. So, the end of an era.
Yep.
360, gone, but not forgotten. One more thing I want to touch on here because I thought that was kind of cool, and where CJ normally does nothing but Nintendo news, I'm going to throw some Sega news in here.
Oh my gosh.
There was the new Mega Drive hub that was announced
Oh, right.
for the Steam platform, announced for the Steam.
Yes.
So this is basically just a shell to hold any of the old Mega Drive games that you can already buy on Steam, as far as I understand. So it's meant to represent a '90s bedroom, not my '90s bedroom, but a '90s bedroom where you have a game shelf and you get to pick your Genesis games. Actually, Mega Drive, because it's based more on the UK side of things, I think.
Hmm.
And then you can pivot around in this room and you can see all your rad posters before you plug your cartridge into your Mega Drive and go to town. It's kind of neat. I think it's. I don't know if it's free. I assume it's free, but I don't really know.
Apparently, you can mod them too.
That's the other thing that's interesting. Yes,
Yeah.
so they're opening it up so that they're opening up all of the Mega Drive games that are on Steam to the mod community.
Pretty crazy. But
Different.
pretty awesome.
Definitely different.
Yeah.
You just need to see where that goes.
Yep.
Mod
I am
support.
down for it.
You guys don't care as much as I do, but I think it's cool.
Oh no, I care quite a bit. I'm actually pretty excited about this. It's gonna be
Yeah.
kind of Jeez, I mean,
Are you gonna get a dedicated Steam box just for the Mega Drive '90s bedroom, and it's gonna be running on a monitor in your place at all times?
well, I have I will be doing that. I will also be I'm moving my son out of his bedroom.
Good plan.
His bed is going to go in just the living room.
You're gonna make him live in the virtual room, and then you're gonna.
Yeah, I'm going to take his room and rebuild it to look just like the room in the game.
I love it.
So I can have the room within the room playing these Genesis titles. Yeah.
That's very meta.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do wonder if all of the brands that you'd expect to be there are going to be represented, because I would imagine that on some brands they'd have to be asking permission for the ability to mod. That's my guess. To actually open that up, because that's a pretty big deal. But I would imagine that IP holders within the company would have to be asked about that.
Yeah, I guess it really depends on what the Mega Drive collection is on Steam, because I don't think you have to worry too much about licenses. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm talking more about the first party stuff. About
okay.
If there's any sensitivity around any key characters like being modded, that kind of thing.
Oh, right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't really follow the mod scene so much, so I just thought it was. I mean, I guess that's the reason why I thought it was so surprising that they announced that they were opening it up.
Yeah, it's cool. That's undoubtedly cool. Look forward to seeing what comes out of that.
Mm-hmm. One last thing that we wanted to talk about real quick, and that is that I believe it was the president of Platinum Games,
the CEO.
The CEO, Tetsuya Minami,
Yep.
stepped down from Platinum Games this week, the same week that Star Fox Zero came out, which we'll be talking about later in the show. I don't know. I mean, did he make a lot of these games, or was he just CEO?
My understanding is that he was more on the business side, but he
Right.
also had very, very strong game instincts. I mean, you see what that studio is, and who has been a part of it in the past and who's a part of it now, and they have just a very strong game culture, which I'm sure he was a principal part of making sure that was the case. Yeah, I mean, and I gotta say, not everything that they've released have been gems, but man, the games that they have released that are, among their best are not just among the best in their catalog, but among the best in, I think, any game catalog.
Yeah, when they hit something that's it's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can miss, which everybody can miss. And by the way, he didn't step down this week. He stepped down in March.
Oh, okay.
So it was just reported this week.
I see.
So, yeah.
I see.
So it has nothing to do with Star Fox Zero, which I'm sure there are some people out there that would like to think it did. But like I said, we can talk about that later. So that's pretty much it from the headlines standpoint. I'm sorry, Ethan, that I skipped over your topic there.
No, that's fine.
Maybe we'll get back to that at some point.
Try harder next time, Ethan.
Yeah. Next time, do something that we like. terrible. Let's move on to what you've been playing. And we were talking about Star Fox Zero, and I know, Ethan, you've been playing Star Fox Zero, so
Yep.
maybe we start with that.
Yeah, so Nintendo is great at their packaging, I'll say that. It was kind of nice to go into the store and you see this double-sized box, right? And I asked to look at it, and I had read the reviews. I knew that the Metacritic was not in the 80s, so I wasn't initially planning to walk out of the store with it. And in fact, I did walk out of the store having chosen not to get it, and ended up coming back because it's just seeing the special packaging and knowing that Platinum was involved. I hadn't been aware of that until I actually saw their name on the box, and then becoming aware of the fact that it came with 2 games and not 1, and doing a little bit of phone research to see that the Star Fox Guard game is not just a throwaway minigame, but is actually a pretty good game all by itself that some people think is better than Star Fox Zero. Those things combined convinced me to walk out of the store with the game and brought it home. And what I'll say is that it's ambitious, it's different, it's new, and that's cool. I really like to see companies try to do something that is not just another Gears of War game, but it is incredibly confusing from a control standpoint. And to me, the issue is really that they say, okay, you can look through the cockpit on your Wii U controller for precision aiming, and that precision aiming is accelerometer based, so it's very much like Splatoon.
Okay.
But it's not, to me, just the problem that a lot of critics have spoken about, which is that it takes a moment for your eyes to go from the TV screen to the actual controller screen. It's that I've been playing for 2 hours, and I'm still not exactly sure what the real benefit is to using that second screen at all, because you're still using the accelerometer to aim when you're just looking at the ship from third person on your TV. So I get the impression that I'm losing something or I'm playing it wrong, because if it wasn't so important, it wouldn't be there, and it wouldn't be the center of their marketing positioning. But I find that I will either just focus in first person on the screen in front of me, or more likely just look at the television screen. But to me right now, it feels really more like just the difference between where you put your camera in a racing game.
It's interesting that you're describing it that way, though, because that to me is one of the clearest descriptions I've heard so far. Because no one is really, I mean, I guess for the same reason, I haven't been reading every review or anything like that, but no one has really called out like what is the benefit. And to hear you say there may not be one, it's sort of a matter of choice. That makes more sense to me, because up until now I thought that it was forcing you to look on that second screen at various points.
Well, and that's the thing, is I feel like because I've gotten that same message as well, but I haven't felt the need to do that, that maybe I'm missing some part of the gameplay, and that's why I'm not getting the best scores or something. But whatever the case, I mean, when the game is taking you down rails, I think that's when it's working best. It has some really nice set pieces. Visually, it's quite simplified, but I guess we're more willing to accept that to a degree because that's been kind of the legacy of the brand. It's kind of a simpler, cleaner look. So I don't really have a problem with that. It is really, really nice to be back in the Star Fox world because I'm so heavily nostalgic when it comes to that brand. So that's something that I think is just kind of a built-in benefit for the game. The music is all there. The characters talking to one another is as fun as it's always been. I'm a little concerned about the length because apparently Critical Path has been as short as 4 hours for some people.
I've heard that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. And I would assume that that's why they decided to stick the other game in there, which, again, if I hadn't made it clear enough, the reason it's a double-sized packaging is because it actually comes with 2 disc boxes and 2 discs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Which is interesting because I didn't expect that when I actually saw the box, like I knew that Star Fox Guard came with it, but I kind of assumed that it would have been just downloadable, or if it was 2 discs, that it would be in like a double disc DVD case. But the fact that it's actually 2 cases in there, it's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, and you'd think they would have done that for Bayonetta,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's great though. I mean, it's an interesting thing because Star Fox Guard, for as kind of cumbersome as the Star Fox Zero game is, Star Fox Guard is much easier to understand. It's kind of a tower defense thing mixed with Night Trap, I guess would be one way to put it.
Sweet.
Yeah, yeah. So you're controlling cameras, and you are switching to cameras as you're seeing robots coming and attacking a base, and it becomes very frantic. And some cameras start to show you misinformation and stuff like that. But it's a simple concept. What it feels very much like is something that must have come out of early brainstorming sessions with Nintendo R&D as to what this device can do, and it's been too small a lever to make a real game out of it, so they just wrapped it in Star Fox.
Isn't this based on a game that they showed during one of the Treehouse presentations 2 E3s ago? I want to say whenever they did that first year that they did the major Treehouse broadcast from E3, there was one point where somebody came up. It might have been Miyamoto. Talking about all these different little. He showed off a bunch of these little prototypes for the Wii U controller, and I swear that was one of them. I'm almost positive that was one of them, but I don't know if it was Star Fox. It was a Star Fox game at the time.
Right, right, and it feels like a reskin of something else. There doesn't feel like there's any compelling reason for it to be Star Fox above anything else. Yeah. But I mean, it's one of those. Though. Yeah, for sure. The game was definitely not flying off shelves. I think an interesting contrast was earlier in the week I was trying to get Ratchet and Clank and ended up having to get a digital slip instead of a physical copy because they were sold out at GameStop everywhere. Yeah,
wow.
There was no store that I could go and get the disc. So I ended up getting a voucher. But they were definitely packed with Star Fox Zero games. But if you're a fan of Star Fox, if you're a collector, if you can't miss a first-party Nintendo game, which is where I am, it's something you're not going to regret as a purchase. And it's clever, and it's one of those games that when you look back on the history of the Wii U, you can say, okay, well, this is one of those games that really did try to maximize the benefits of what this device can do. It is a game that can't be done in the way it's being done on any other machine. So it's worth it, I guess, in a historical context, and it's pretty fun once you stop fighting the controls and just focus on the action sequences. But I think it is... Metacritic right now is in the 70s, which I think is completely fair.
That's cool. So it's interesting. So you're saying that the play time is clocking around 4 hours. You've heard.
Yeah.
I'm assuming where it's a platinum game though, there must be a bunch of little mini games or side missions or something to do that fills that out.
Yeah, there are definitely some optional things there that you have to circle back and try a couple times to do. Also, it's going to take a while before you feel comfortable enough with the controls to say that I'm proficient, right? Mm-hmm. So, even if you could go stem to stern 4 hours, I doubt that that's going to be the first time you play it because you're really kind of acclimating and adjusting to the game. My guess is that the people who have stated that that's the case are people who have gotten to grips with the game and have just mainlined it beginning to end after having understood how to play.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious. I want to bring this up, and this is not. Well, I guess it kind of is to. I don't know. Polygon didn't review this game.
Oh, right.
They refused to review this game. The review editor.
This.
Arthur Geese.
Why?
Times like this, I wish Mike was still on the show.
Yeah, to be honest. I mean, it's funny. So, this is my favorite line. So he wrote an article talking about how Star Fox Zero channels everything bad about Wii U game design. And I'll be honest, from everything I've heard, even from listening to you just now, he has a point. He has a legitimate point. Anyway, he posted a news story saying, that it channels everything bad about Wii U game design, bad motion controls, and boring missions kill Star Fox Zero's fun. But it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 dozen paragraphs describing why the game is bad, what he doesn't like about it, and at the end why he's not going to review it, which kind of blew me away considering what he wrote was basically a review. But he says he sort of sums it up with this line that says, "It is, to be blunt, a miserable experience, and the idea of playing more fills me with the kind of deep existential dread I can't really justify."
Aw, poor baby.
And that was the thing that just got me. It's like, A, you're the reviews editor. So if you don't want to review it, well, I guess the question for me is, if one of your staff or one of your freelancers wrote to you and said, "This game's so bad I can't review it," are you still going to pay them?
Right. Well, and I mean, to take it to that end, he may as well have said, I finished playing the game and I was so upset that in the middle of the night I just had to crawl into mommy and daddy's bed because I just couldn't handle it.
So there's that, and I don't want to dwell on that too much, but I think it's such a ridiculous, dramatic statement for somebody who gets paid to write. And I mean, he's defended himself saying there's actually a whole lot more to his job than just playing video games, which obviously the three of us would be able to relate to.
Yep.
But even at that, at the end of the day, and he's saying you got about halfway through it, we're hearing that the play time's about 4 hours. I think your justification is that paycheck you take home every 2 weeks, but that's just me. I would have loved to have been in that situation 15 years ago to have you, Ethan, come to me and say, "Listen, these 20 crappy Game Boy Color games you assigned to me," because let's be honest, we gave you a lot of crappy Game Boy Color games to review. I can't write the review because it fills me with a deep existential dread that I can't justify.
Yeah,
I would have loved that you said it. I was like, "You got moxie, kid." But like, that is ballsy. But anyway, that notwithstanding, the other thing that I kind of want to discuss here, because we all wrote reviews for a living at one point, he goes on to say that the reason he's gone halfway through the game, it fills him with such deep existential dread that he can't justify finishing the last 2 hours of the game because it's so difficult to play because of the terrible controls, which, again, like I say, very legitimate. That's a legitimate thing. If you're a consumer and the controls are bad enough that you can't get a grip on them, then yes, you're not going to be happy with your purchase. He says that this isn't a review for Star Fox Zero, although it is. Save for very rare extreme circumstances, Polygon reviews require that a game be completed or at least a good faith effort be made to complete it. My question here, there's two things here. First of all, if he played through half of it and the controls are so bad that he doesn't think he's going to be able to finish it, is that not a good faith effort to finish the game?
Yeah.
And if the defining characteristic of the game, if what makes the game bad is the control, is something as fundamental as the control being broken, do you have to finish it to review it? Is something in that last 2 hours going to change your opinion on those controls so dramatically that it's going to change your score on that game?
Well, do you think every single critic who put in a review for Witcher 3 got to the bitter end?
Absolutely not. And that's kind of I think more than anything else, that existential dread line is hilarious. That's the reason I read it. I just think it's so funny. But it's such the whole thing about I didn't finish the game so I can't review it, that's always been a sticking point with me because we all know that reviewers in general don't finish all the games they review, and anyone who says they do is a liar. Right. Unless you're reviewing very small games all the time. But to use that as an excuse not to do your job really bothers me.
Well, note that whenever you hear we don't review the game unless we finish it, usually only comes up in situations like this.
Right.
It's like, the reason I didn't finish it is because I'm not really doing a review, so it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Right. I mean, there's always the flip side of that, which we all have dealt with at one point or another, is like, well, if you didn't finish the game, then you're not allowed to have an opinion on it.
Right.
The other thing also is, so you compare then Star Fox Zero, which is trying really hard to do something new. Now,
Mhm.
I would say that they haven't succeeded in doing that, but it's laudable
Sure.
that they are really trying to demonstrate what the machine can do, but also to give people an experience that they haven't had before. And it's being done by people who know how to make video games. It's Platinum being overseen by Miyamoto, right?
Mhm.
So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of that. But you're telling me that even if they are reaching for that brass ring of we're going to give you something you haven't played before, and they don't quite make it, that isn't better or more interesting than playing through a game based on the movie Mastermind or something like that?
See that now you could be more cynical about it and say that they're doing it to take advantage of a system that's got a gimmicky controller that hasn't been justified yet
Yeah.
at the end of its life. I mean, we're at the end of the life of the Wii U, let's be honest. So, I mean, you could be more cynical and say it that way. But yeah, that's just it. I mean, I think you definitely want to praise them at the same time calling out and saying they were not successful. In your opinion, they were not successful. And from everything I've heard, Arthur's right. They weren't successful. Varying degrees of success maybe, but it just really, this particular thing, and I don't like to bring him up on the show because I know that it's really easy to pile on him because he writes stuff like being filled with deep existential dread over playing Star Fox, but like the reasoning just drives me crazy. I've always hated the line of I have to finish a game before I can review it. That's bull. You don't. Because a consumer doesn't have to finish a game to decide whether they like it or not.
And usually they don't finish games, even ones that they do like.
Right.
But, the other thing to look at, and I just need to go back to this again, because is it really a case where this game will fill them with existential dread, but something like the game version of Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs wouldn't? I mean, isn't that where you reserve?
And to be remember, this is coming from the guy who wrote professional reviews of the Austin Powers Game Boy Color games.
Right.
He knows what he's talking about. Listen up, folks.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, if you're looking at a game that is just kind of a cynical cash-in where there's been no care applied, I think that that's something that can cause a bit of existential dread, because that, when you're playing something like that, feels like, again, just a very cynical cash-in exercise that didn't have any love. This game had love. It was something that maybe didn't deliver, and maybe spectacularly so for some players, but anything that was built by skilled designers, especially again if they're trying to do something new, is interesting to look at. So I think in an industry where there's so much Me Tooism and there's so much crap licensed games that are literally trying to do nothing other than just hit the movie release date, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's so many other games that you would want to point to and say, this I can't handle anymore.
No, for sure. And I mean, we won't talk about this much more, but I think at the end of the day, and again, this is a discussion we have had in the past on this show, and it's kind of a disconnect I feel we have with a lot of game review outlets nowadays anyway, in that, for me, the purpose of a review, the purpose of writing a professional review has always been in service of the consumer.
Yeah.
And I feel like you are cheating your readers. If a game is so bad, in your opinion, that you're saying, I'm not going to review this. You're cheating your readers when you do that, because if the game is really that bad, it's your job as the professional reviewer to warn your reader, don't go buy this game.
But the
in
dread,
a proper way.
Greg. The dread.
I know the dread, yeah. I mean, I don't want it to be scarred.
It's Kafka-esque. Just dread.
Anyway,
Yeesh.
moving on. What else have you been playing?
You want to know the
sorry.
dark secret about reviewing video games professionally?
Back of the box?
Huh?
Back of the box?
Well,
Press
no,
release?
not even that.
That's
No,
just CJ's dark secret. Sorry.
It's just, well, yeah. It's that it's a really, really easy job. The hardest day you work at a video game website as a professional reviewer or anything like that is easier than just about any job that any other person has. Am I wrong about that?
I can't.
It's not a hard job.
You know what? I can't speak to the website side of it. Well, I can in a way, but I used to do that for free before I got a professional gig.
Yeah.
On the magazines, there was a little bit more involved because of all the planning and everything that went into it.
Yeah.
Right.
But the reviewing element of it, the only thing that was hard about it was the volume of it. You know what I mean? Like,
the hard part still just involves you sitting at a desk playing a video game or writing an email or sitting at a table trying to figure out what we want to write about in this issue or what we need to get, what feature we need up on the site that day.
Phil just wants all these spoiled kids to go get a real job.
It's not a hard job, is what I'm saying. It's not a hard job. So, I think...
Yeah, I guess the only thing I'd say about that is it is, though, a job that has lots and lots of hours. I would remember that, during the holiday season, as Greg was saying, you would be overloaded with games, and typically they would be games that you wouldn't play if you were looking at it as a consumer. So you weren't playing those games when you were at work, because at work you were trying to go to meetings and get your writing done, and at night on your own time you were doing all of the reviewing to be as complete as possible.
That's definitely true. And to be fair, I mean, I don't know what salaries look like now, but you're underpaid for the amount of hours you work. There's no question.
For sure.
Because it's easy to use it as an excuse. Well, you're just playing video games. But I mean, there's one of the biggest things about it too, though, is sort of the responsibility to the people that you're speaking to. Now, back, what we used to see a lot, and a lot of us, I think, were guilty of this to a point, is that it's very easy to lose sight of the fact that you're supposed to be serving your readers and not the people that are sending you the video games.
Yeah.
Very easy to fall into that trap. But it's this third tier of people that, and it seems more prevalent now, which is they seem to be serving themselves.
Oh, yeah.
And it drives me crazy. But
you got to
just
promote yourself so people will throw money at your Patreon
yes,
to help
Speaking
support.
of which, if you want to support the Player One Podcast,
That's
patreon.com/P1Podcast.
That's right. Of course, we aren't getting a salary on top of it. That's the thing.
You're not? Oh, yes, you're right. We're not.
Wait. What? There you go.
So, though, I will say something that is to be considered, at least, in defense of the writer, is, and I'm just looking this up here. Do you remember Roger Ebert's review of North?
No.
He hate several dozen times this movie, right?
Yes.
Is that one?
Yes.
Was that review? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most damning review ever, and this is from a Rob Reiner film, and the thing is like he really does start to showboat. His one of his quotes is, "I hated this movie, hated this movie." So, and that is Roger Ebert, and so I think that probably.
Did he give it a score?
Yes, he gave it 0 stars.
Just checking.
Yeah, so he actually did give it a review, but I'm just bringing it up because there's a case of a celebrated critic who is going out of his way to really exaggerate how bad he thinks a product is, and I don't think that's too off the mark of what Arthur Gies is doing.
No, you're right. And I guess, like I said, the big thing for me is just the drama of all of it, and the fact that, honestly, what he wrote, all he had to do was slap a number on it, and it was a review anyway. Yeah. It's just, like I said, the drama that went with it was a little bit much. Let's move on here, because we're pushing on time here. What else you been playing there, Ethan?
So the other ones, it's been a really, really great window time for games. I've played Dark Souls 3, and this is the first Dark Souls game I've played. I did play Bloodborne, so this is the first time, though, that I've walked around with an effective shield, and I am loving the experience. It's really very fun, and I think because I'm walking into it knowing that I'm going to continually get my ass handed to me, that's the key to enjoying it, because just any little bit of progress feels great. And when you can do a run where you really are moving through an area you've never been in before and you're successfully scraping your way through it, that just feels so glorious because so often you get stuck where a session can last 2 minutes because you've quickly fallen into the sword of an enemy that you didn't see in the corner, that type of thing. But it always feels fair. It always feels like you're in a position where once you learn the characteristics of every enemy, where they tend to be, and how to counter them, that you can make it through. And the environment is just really rich and enveloping too. I like no other game, I just lose sense of time altogether when I'm playing this, and I'm exploring different areas. And the roguelike level of repetition actually enhances the experience for me instead of makes it tedious, which is an interesting trick. But that combined with the set pieces, which I wouldn't spoil here, but really even in the beginning they're doing some really great things to give you a sense that this is a world with a lot going on. It's definitely one that I'm glad I jumped into. Have you guys started playing it yet?
I will not play it.
No, neither will I.
Fills me with a deep sense of existential dread that I can't justify. No,
Yeah.
I've tried the Dark Souls games, and I tried to play Bloodborne, and they're just not for me.
Yeah, not my bag.
Okay, I can respect that. I think that it's very similar to me, and I'm learning this about myself as a player, to Fire Emblem when playing that in Hardcore Classic mode, where
Yeah, I was going to talk to you about that, but go ahead.
Yeah, I like being challenged. I like being in a position where I slowly eke forward little wins because I'm better understanding the game. You look at a game like Rise of the Tomb Raider, which I know you're playing, which was my favorite game of last year. I think it's absolutely awesome, but you don't really have to develop your skills to get through it.
No, you're right.
You can use the same type of simple tricks and get through it without ever actually being forced to learn how to optimize your play.
And that's the reason why. That's one of the reasons why I'm not a Dark Souls person, is because, I mean, you've played through Rise of the Tomb Raider. You know how long it is.
Yeah.
I've been playing it since it came out. I just finished it this week.
Yeah.
That's how much time I have to spend. So if there's a game like Dark Souls where it's actively, like you're making progress in inches at a time, I can't justify playing it.
Yeah, but I mean, it all depends on expectations too, because if you know that getting inches ahead represents a big win, then that can, in its own way, be as satisfying as finishing a stage in Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is kind of an everlasting gobstopper of a game. It's just one of those things that you chew on for a long, long time. I expect I'm going to be playing it for a long time. But I think one thing that's really...
Ethan?
Oh, go ahead, yeah.
If you chew on an everlasting gobstopper, it would break your teeth.
So will Dark Souls 3, surprisingly enough.
No.
I think,
So,
yes. So, Greg, thank you. I think the analogy stands. Yeah.
I don't know.
But I think it's interesting to note that this is Namco's best-selling console game ever.
Really?
Yeah. And
Really? Namco?
Yep. And so I guess the other thing to me that fills me with a bit of joy is that this game, which is the definition of the absolute opposite of Candy Crush Saga, is their best-selling game, makes me feel happy about the health of the industry, where you have those extremes that can work, that we're not in a position where suddenly we have to have watered down experiences because the market's gotten bigger, and so now everyone has to cater to people who've never played games before. I think it's important to have games like that for new players. I'm not against that at all, but I think it's great that we still have our games that will be maddeningly frustrating to anyone who doesn't want to step up to it. I think that's important.
Absolutely. I think I love the fact that these games are so popular, even though they're not for me.
Yeah. So the other thing I will just lightly touch on that I did finish in an excited run to the store to get Ratchet and Clank, I've been trying to keep my spending down by trading stuff in when I can. So instead of just buying Ratchet and Clank, I was like, all right, what can I trade in? Well, Need for Speed was an easy decision.
Yep. I wish I bought that in physical form.
Yeah. So, and I had bought it in physical form for like $30 during the holidays. So I basically got all of my money back, which was kind of nice. And then Call of Duty Call of Duty is a series where every year I say I'm not going to buy the next game, and then every year I buy the next game. That's just kind of how it goes. So I had Black Ops 3 sitting there. I'd played a couple hours of the campaign, and I hadn't gone back to it. It was fine when I had played it, but just nothing that got me excited to come back for more. But I did decide that since these games are short, like 6 hours long, I may as well just blast through it real quick before I trade it in. And I'm glad I did, because that game gets pretty batshit insane, almost Kojima level, because it's like, you have teams that can do whatever the fuck they want, it seems like, from a storytelling standpoint, because the series is so successful. So this goes into Crazy Town and jumping into people's heads and weird double crosses and stuff, but it's actually structured so that you can still easily follow it. The production values are great, and it is a popcorn movie game. Absolutely, it's seems inspired by Michael Bay, but those AAA production values that cost so much money to put on screen, I'm glad it's there, and I'm glad I took the time to play through it.
Yeah, the Black Ops games in general for me, they went from must buys every year to when they hit $20, I grab them.
Yep.
And for exactly that reason, because I'm not interested in the multiplayer, and it's kind of a good thing that that's what those games are focused on, because I can play it for like 3 nights, enjoy what I play, hopefully, and get rid of it, and not have spent a whole lot of money on it. And like, I kind of appreciate that that's what those games have become, although part of me is sad that that's what those games have become, because there was a time when a new Call of Duty was, like, I'd be at the store day one because I wanted to play it.
Well, and the thing is, I agree with that, but the amount of content that is in the game is pretty substantial. So there's zombie mode.
I'm just never going to see it.
I know, yeah, I'm in the same boat as well, and I'm happy to have a game that is, as I have described other games, all muscle, no fat. Where it's just
like
you're straight lining. Right, exactly. So yeah, that was fun, but then that got me to something that will be able to open up the conversation a bit more, which was getting Ratchet and Clank. So traded in my Need for Speed and Call of Duty and was able to get Ratchet and Clank, and man, do I love that game.
It's pretty outstanding, right?
It is gorgeous and so much fun, and it feels like it was made in a different generation of game development, because of course it's a remake, but it's like it just makes you yearn for more like this. And yeah, I mean, everyone has said it looks like a Pixar film. It does. It's just so much fun, and I just have a big smile on my face as I'm playing.
Yeah, it's pretty outstanding.
I've got to play it.
That's all I've been playing this week, actually. And I am just having a ton of fun with it.
Yep.
How far are you in it, Ethan?
I'm pretty far in it. So I just have reteamed with the Rangers, and now we're all heading out. I think to defeat the bad guy.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I have no idea how much farther along you are than I am, but I just got the jetpack.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Flying around, fighting giant brain creatures.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, it is, actually.
Yeah.
So it is a remake of the first game? Like, would you call it like a 1-to-1 remake, or is it more like a reimagining of the first game?
No, it's a definite reimagining
of
it. Yeah, for sure.
What was interesting is looking at the trailers for the movie, it seems like the movie is telling exactly the same story.
Yeah, it is. This is.
Yeah,
this
is a movie game, right?
This is. Yeah, it's a movie game.
Which is weird, because you don't see those very often anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But makes sense. No, I've definitely got to play it. I'm kind of. I think I'm gonna have to leave it on the back burner though, because Uncharted 4 is so close to coming out.
Oh, that's true.
But I don't want to be like halfway through it and then I'm gonna pretty much drop everything to play Uncharted 4. So.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be halfway through it and then drop it, because then there's less of a chance of picking it up again.
But what a gift to players that thing came out for $40 too.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Or if you have Amazon Prime, it was like $30.
Yeah.
So we going to see the movie? It's next week, right?
Oh yeah.
29th?
I'll be seeing it. Yeah.
Yep.
I'll be seeing it for sure.
I was so excited. My son actually came to me and asked about the movie and if I wanted to go see it. And I'm like, yeah. Are you kidding me?
Nice.
Yeah, we looked at the trailer last night, and I definitely will be taking the kids. But my wife looked at it and said, "You can take the kids to that." So,
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely going to be a yeah. It's fun though because that's one of the few games that resonated with my. I forget when the last one came out on the PS3. Um, but anyway, kind of resonated with my daughter. She's not super into video games, and she doesn't. I don't normally play them a lot in front of the kids anyway. But that one, was easy enough to play because it was so it wasn't violent or anything like that, and she absolutely loves those characters.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm kind of excited because I don't get to experience a lot of sort of video game stuff with my daughter, my oldest.
oh yeah.
So it's gonna be cool to be able to do this. She really wants to go see the movie as well. Although she just calls it Nuts and Bolts. She always just called it Nuts and Bolts, never Ratchet and Clank.
Oh, really?
You gonna play Nuts and Bolts today, Daddy?
I'm just delighted that with the movie they kept the two voice actors as the
Yeah.
main characters.
Yeah.
That seems like something that they would have potentially recast because the two voice actors who voice Ratchet and Clank, it's James Arnold Taylor is Ratchet and David Kaye is Clank, and they're two professional voice actors. They've done a ton of voice work, but they're not
They're not like A-list.
they're not names
feature
you put on the
film.
poster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And I mean, feature film animation has become a lot about the celebrity voice.
exactly. So I'm just very pleased that the two of them are still voicing their characters.
Yeah. No, I
So-
can't wait to see it. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
I've been playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. I finished
Sure.
it finally.
Ah, very nice.
And I don't want to talk too much with the ending. I know, Ethan, you finished it as well, but there's a whole segment of the gaming population that hasn't played it yet.
Oh, right.
Which sucks.
I know. As I said earlier in the show, it is my favorite game of last year.
It is
I
so
think
good.
It's absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It, yeah, I mean, I can't think of a whole lot bad to say about it. There were some elements of it I wasn't crazy about, and I find that the end of the game, I mean, I've always loved the combat, always. In these last two games, I've
Yep.
really enjoyed the combat, and I really enjoyed the combat in this game. I found near the end, some of those combat sections were a little bit much. Especially there was one right at the top of that tower where there's just wave after wave of Trinity soldiers coming at you, and they're constantly flanking you.
Yeah.
Wasn't crazy about that because I don't think that the hand-to-hand combat is quick enough in that game to deal with it.
Well, yeah, but it depends on what you've leveled up. So,
True.
and because I really enjoyed doing the hand-to-hand, so I was pretty powerful with that.
But the thing is that I found is that where it's the same button, where attacking is the same button as the stealth kill.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, stealth kill. I would constantly get stuck in that loop.
Yeah, that's frustrating.
Vulnerable
Yeah.
anytime
Yep.
that happens. And if you got four guys standing there just shooting at you the whole time while you're doing it, it's like, well, I can't cancel this. So
Yeah,
I'm
I just remember
done.
there was something where like you can use like the arrow tips to get their shoe kind of stuck or something like that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
So
that.
yeah. So it does open up a bit.
See, I was big on the hunting and gathering, so
Ah.
I maxed out my hunting skills more than anything.
Hmm.
And my weapons combat too. I mean, I use bow and arrow for almost everything in that game.
Bow and arrow
so
is
satisfying.
such a cool game mechanic. Same thing with Far Cry Primal, by the way. But there's just something really nice about pulling back that string, getting the bead, and then letting go. Yeah.
And they came up. There were some nice perks there too, like the whole firing in rapid succession and all that sort of thing. Like there's just a lot of really cool stuff. And I love the fact that as you upgraded the weapons, they actually changed the models.
Yep.
Very
and-
cool. She looked like a badass by the end of the game. I mean, it was so cool to see her running around with like this bow slung over her shoulder, and like I had the pistol she was using had the expanded magazine, so the magazine was like that long, sticking out the bottom of the handle, and it just looked really great.
Well, and anyone who questions whether or not the Xbox One has the tech specs to be keeping up with the PS4, I mean, just look at that game.
Yeah.
It is
Oh, it's beautiful.
utterly gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful, yeah.
No, super happy with that game. I think it's a real shame that it's going to take so long to come out on the PS4 because I feel like it's going to get missed.
Yep, and then
It's
the
too
other
bad.
problem is it's going to feel too late too. It's kind
Exactly.
of yesterday's news. Remember when Mass Effect came out on the PlayStation 3 or
Mhm.
BioShock when that came to PS3? It was like it was there, but who cares?
The
You know, it's
excitement was gone.
yeah,
Hmm.
Plus, it'll be post Uncharted 4 now, so
yes,
I mean, I'm not saying necessarily that Uncharted 4 is going to be a better game, although there's a lot of potential for it to be a better game. But that's going to be the game on the PS4. So
yep.
yeah,
I think
it's too bad.
that's a high bar though, man. It would not surprise me if ultimately I walk away saying loved Uncharted 4, but it's on par with, or not quite as good as, because I think Rise of the Tomb Raider just is a huge footprint. I think it's better than any past Uncharted game. That's my feeling.
Wow.
Yep.
Hmm.
I don't know if I go that far, but I mean it's close because really at the end of the day, what you've got is two teams that are right at sort of the peak of their abilities, right? I mean, they're just the Tomb Raider was a masterpiece.
Yep.
So
Well, and I'm glad that they were given the chance to do that game, and that they didn't have to put in a bunch of useless multiplayer this time. You know.
yeah, yeah.
That this is just a single player game that apparently they needed Microsoft support to make it, but however it happened, I'm glad that Square Enix didn't throw up their hands and just say, this is too expensive, we can't do it.
I just hope that they do another one.
Yeah,
I think they've got a really nice they've got a really nice um, format going with those games now, and I definitely would like to see them further refine it on another game.
well, and just a quick aside, last year, my favorite console game was Rise of the Tomb Raider, and my favorite mobile game was Lara Croft Go.
Yeah, it's quite good.
So they really know what to do with that brand.
Mm, yeah. The only other thing that I've been playing, and I only honestly just started playing this today, is Freedom Planet by Galaxy Trail Games. I don't know if either of you guys have ever tried this.
Is that the
Like
first
Sonic
person?
looking. No,
Or,
no, it's
no.
not the first person. So I actually found out about this game a while back. I want to say it was
Okay, I
My
know,
Life in
yeah.
Gaming did a video of this
Yeah.
at one point. Corey over there, which I thought looked really good, but I didn't bother picking it up right away, and I sort of forgotten about it. Excuse me. Anyway, a couple days ago.
I was thinking Lovely Planet.
Oh,
It's the first person that has kind of Katamari style visuals.
right.
But I know which one you're talking about now.
So a couple days ago, a friend of the show, Joe Walker, the show The Backlog, just out of the blue messaged me and asked me if I'd played the game because he said he feels like, especially where I am so crazy about all things Mega Drive, that I should experience it, and then sent me a code on Steam. So thank you very
nice.
much, Joe, for that. So of course, when I went to put the code in, Steam was down.
Yeah.
But today I got to play it for about an hour. I played through the first few levels. So it's a side-scrolling platformer, and right off the bat, it's Sonic. But it's not copying Sonic. It's sort of paying homage to Sonic. So it's all sprite based. It's sort of it kind of I would sit it in between sort of what we saw in the 16-bit era and the 32-bit era. Like it's right in that area as far as the intricacy of the sprites and all that. But yeah, it's just a side-scrolling platform where you play as one of two characters, and the immediate influence is Sonic. She can run really fast. She gathers gems. She does loop-de-loops, that sort of thing. But then as you play more, you can see that it's kind of paying. It's taking elements from a lot of 16-bit platformers, which is kind of really nice. Like there's even elements of like Aero the Acrobat in there. Good elements of Aero the Acrobat in there. I know there weren't that many of them. Sonic 3, there's some Ristar in there, it feels like. Not Sparkster, but Rocket Knight Adventure, because she's got a move where she charges up, and if you're aiming at a wall, you can ricochet around to go up higher in the levels. And the levels are... It's got that Sonic feel as well, where if you want, you can just sort of run to the right on the first level, and you just get through it really fast, and you'll have had a good experience. But there's a ton to explore, and seems that way across all the levels, where there's just a ton of verticality to the levels, and there's a lot of secrets hidden all over the place. So if you want to stop and explore, you can, or you can just run through as fast as possible and still get a lot of the game as well. So, I mean, I want to talk about it more, and I will talk about it more in future shows, but I wanted to point out that, first I wanted to thank Joe again for sending me the code, but what I have played of it so far, it's quite good, and it's beautiful. I mean, it just looks gorgeous and sounds just as good. The music is fantastic, and it's an indie game, basically, as far as I know. So, yeah, it's just... I would suggest you guys check it out because I know that it's sort of right in your wheelhouse, Phil, and you too, Ethan.
Yeah, sounds great.
You love Sonic, so.
Yep.
I just added it to my Steam wish list.
What's the price of it right now?
It is 15 bones.
It's pretty. Sounds pretty fair for that game.
I will be waiting for a Steam sale.
But yeah, definitely check it out. I think you'll really like. I think you really like it when you play.
Because you don't buy games on Steam unless there's a Steam sale.
Well, duh.
I mean, that's just how it works. Nice.
So let's do some tweets here before we wrap up. I had one marked here and now I need to find it.
Okay, that's cool.
Hey, this is a good one. Hacker alias Danjuko asks, so what gaming hardware or peripheral do you feel had potential yet was poorly executed? Like the Jaguar controller 12-button templates, that type of thing. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That Jaguar controller was a disaster.
Yeah, that did not have potential.
No.
Yeah, not as much a disaster as their CD add-on. But
Well,
I have one that never worked.
Oh, I use it as a toilet now. Yeah.
Most
like
of
a
them
toilet.
don't work, from what I understand.
Yeah, I've heard that as well.
Yeah.
So,
Is
I'd
it fair
say
to say Virtual Boy?
Did it
That's
have
not-
potential?
You know what? I think it could have.
Yeah.
I think it could have. There were some games on there that were actually good. Yeah.
There were, but like the best game on that was the Wario game, which
Yeah.
really didn't do anything to take advantage of the technology in any meaningful way. Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. Maybe it was squandered potential. Certainly, they didn't have a killer app that demonstrated you needed to look at red and black and get a headache. But
Right. But I don't know. I think there exists some alternate universe where some really great games came out on Virtual Boy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd vote for the Game Boy printer. Actually, I think that was a really neat thing, the ability to make your own stickers. But the actual application was pretty limited. Also the e-card reader was neat too.
Yeah, I liked the e-card reader. It's interesting
Yeah.
to have a bunch of games on cardboard.
Yeah, and also just the whole idea of you collect the right number of cards to unlock Donkey Kong in its entirety and stuff was really clever.
Really, you could do
First
that?
one there was.
I didn't realize you could. I probably knew at some point you could do that.
Well, it wasn't like you weren't collecting the cards. It was you would just buy a pack. You would buy the Donkey Kong pack, and it would come with the 5 cards that you needed to scan.
Right.
So that was the trouble with it, was you'd have to sit there and scan like 5 or 6 cards, and then after the hassle of doing all that, you end up with Urban Champion. That was the inherent problem with the e-reader.
You spent longer scanning the cards than you wanted to play that game.
Exactly. But it was still neat.
Yeah.
I still have my e-reader.
And by the way, someone got Urban Champion and cartridge for Christmas. Just think about that.
Ooh.
But yeah.
Ooh. Man. Last time I complained about anticipation.
Yeah.
I don't think it will be.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Moving on. Hacker Alias. Wait, let me pick one here first. Hacker Alias Rambus Dunk. Do you expect Sony to include free PSVR games through PS Plus starting in October?
Probably not starting in October.
I would imagine you get something in the box with PlayStation VR that is software, though, even if it's just kind of a taster set or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I feel like the pack-in software is going to be where it's at. and I would be shocked. I guess I'm saying pack-in. That makes me sound old, but there'll be a bunch of experiences to download for anyone who buys the thing. I think right off the bat, I think they have to do it that way.
Oh yeah,
You know,
for sure.
I mean, it'll never match the amazing software suite you got with the original Sega CD, but what could?
Well, I mean, come on.
What could? Sega Smash Pack, man.
Oh, I was talking about that on. I don't know if you know, but Back in My Play is coming back.
Oh, good.
Yes.
Yeah, and I actually was recording an episode with Mr. Kevin Larrabee the other day, and Sega Smash Pack came up actually.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
and how terrible it was. Bought a whole new Dreamcast for that thing.
Yeah, it was not a good. It's not a good collection.
No.
That said, Sonic's Ultimate Genesis Collection. Now that.
Oh, Jesus.
Talking about fantastic purchases for your Xbox 360. There's a fine reason that you
Fantabulous.
should be playing the Xbox 360 for generations to come.
Yep.
So, yeah, definitely worth picking up.
Hacker Alias, Decoder Otter, asked, what would it take for you to play a MOBA?
If it were my job.
If it didn't fill you with too much existential dread.
It's also that, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, for me, I've tried. I've tried League of Legends. I've tried Smite. Both very good games.
Mm-hmm.
For me, I think it's just a case where those become very skill-based and they require so much time and attention to be proficient at that, like a Call of Duty game, maybe if League of Legends had a campaign mode that I could play for 8 hours, and I could set it down and say I've played League of Legends, I'd be fine with it.
Yep.
But I just can't make that long-term commitment. I admire those who do. I think that there's great value in doing it from a player perspective, but I am not that player.
Yeah, you pretty much described exactly why I won't play them either.
Yep.
If there was an overarching sort of storyline and you could get to what you call an ending.
Yep.
And even if the game continued past that, great. But that's exactly the same as me. It's all about that whole making progress thing. And for me, getting 10 feet forward on the treadmill doesn't feel like progress.
Yeah.
And that's what those games feel to me.
Well, and just touching lightly on what I had suggested as a topic before is just that idea of you have games that are authored experiences, that are author-driven, designer-driven games, and you have games that are player-driven, where the players themselves become the content. And League of Legends, any MOBA, is about that, where the players themselves, the people you're competing against, are the content. And when you have that, you will either have great experiences because you have great players that are patient and willing to help, or you will, as I did with League of Legends, have players that are very impatient with new players and will call you a fucking noob and give you a really bad experience. And that's the other problem I ended up having is, that unpredictability of when you let the players be the content, then you as a designer have little control over how good or bad the experience is because it's not authored. It's all based on what the other players are going to do for you, and either that's great and then you become a long-term player, or again you're called the fucking noob and you stop playing.
Ethan dropping the F-bombs all night.
I know, right?
I'm telling you, man. This fucking guy.
It's a family show, man. Jeez.
I mean, Hacker Alias, The Real Defense.
Wow.
With summer fast approaching, is there a game or game memory that you associate with summertime?
Didn't we do this
Staying
one
at
already?
home playing video games instead of going outside?
Didn't we do this one already?
I don't know.
Yeah, we
It
did,
is
because
pretty
that's when I started talking about the old tournaments of power and stuff
Well,
like
then
that.
I was asking Ethan.
Oh, it's funny because I can't think of anything for summer because summer's usually this window of time where nothing comes out. But what I do think about is I associate Thanksgiving weekend with Assassin's Creed. So it doesn't.
Feels right.
Yeah, and it's like every single year for the past 7 years or so, I have been playing a new Assassin's Creed game during Thanksgiving, and I've looked forward to it, and it's going to be very strange for me this year not to have that. But that's just the persistent timing of the releases that ties that to a holiday. I can't think of anything for summer though.
Okay. I'm going to skip over this one. We're going to delete this part. Last one. Hacker alias Gunstar Gamer. What was your first Star Wars figure growing up? C-3PO for Mr. Gunstar Gamer.
Ooh, first Star Wars figure
You
growing
remember?
up? I don't. I had just about all of them though that were
Doesn't
released in
surprise
the
me.
U.S. Yeah, my parents were very supportive of my Star Wars habit as a kid, so I do not remember my first one. It was probably a handful of them that I got for Christmas or birthday or something, but yeah.
So I can remember crystal clear. Mine was C-3PO, and I remember that because my dad had told me when I was 5 that we were going to be going to The Empire Strikes Back, and we went out to Woodfield Mall in Illinois to go see it, and it was sold out. And I was just devastated because I was so excited to see that movie. And so as a consolation, he said, okay, well, let's go down the street to Toys R Us and we'll get you a Star Wars toy instead. And it was the first one I ever got, and that was C-3PO.
Just
very
please
nice.
shut up. I'll buy you a toy. Been there. I don't remember what my first one was because Star Wars. I don't know what year Star Wars figures started coming out. I'm guessing it was in the late 70s.
78, probably, right?
I don't
What's that?
think it was right away. Star
Wait,
Wars
what's
figures.
this?
When did they actually start coming out?
Yeah, probably. Maybe holiday of. Oh no, wait,
77?
no, they missed the holiday of '77 because
They had
were
that box
selling.
you could buy.
They were selling the empty box.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it
But
would
I
have
want to
been
know what year it was.
sometime early '78 then when the figures started coming out.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah. There's an
It was
exciting part
77.
of the show.
You're right. 77.
Huh?
It was 77. You're right.
They
Or
wait,
you
the
were right
figures
originally.
the figures did hit in
No,
'77.
the box. The box
Yeah.
hit Christmas 77. So
Yeah,
yeah, 78. So anyway, what I was getting at is that I don't remember my first figure because I have a feeling that I had figures from when I was like 3 or 4
Mm-hmm.
as a hand-me-down from a cousin of mine or something. Because I mean, 78. I was only 2 years old.
Right.
So I don't remember a time that I didn't have Star Wars toys when I was a kid.
Nice.
It's kind of like our Atari 2600. I couldn't tell you when we got our Atari 2600. I just know we had it
Right.
because I don't remember that far back. I just know we had it, so I'm guessing we had it when I was like 4. So yeah, I don't remember what my first one was. I do remember going and spending a lot of my allowance on Star Wars figures. Going to Zellers was the store here,
Ah,
which by the way is the store that Target bought out when they came here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, before they crashed and burned in Canada.
right. Right.
But yeah, I used to go to Zellers in the mall where my mom worked at a barber shop in the mall, West End Mall, and there was a Zellers there, and I would go there and spend my allowance on GoBots and Star Wars toys
Nice.
because Transformers were too expensive.
Oh man.
Because I don't know if a lot of people remember, but man, and maybe it's like this in some places too. But department stores back in the day, the toy sections of department stores were great.
Yes, they were.
It's not like Walmart today.
No.
Just there was something about them that was just great.
No. I showed you, Greg. I showed you those new GoBot toys that are coming out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those
Very exciting.
machine.
I loved GoBot. I know they sucked, but I love them.
Oh yeah, so did I.
Yeah.
So did I. I actually, yeah, a couple of them went up for pre-order. The Machine Robo is what they're
Mhm.
over in Japan. A couple of them have gone up for pre-order. So
Leader 1 and Psykill and
yes.
Turbo. I had Turbo. He was my favorite.
It did have its own show too, didn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, Hanna-Barbera.
The
And it was.
I remember my
terrible.
cousin had the deluxe because there were the Leader 1 and Psykill. There were big versions of those toys.
Yes, the Super GoBots versions.
And my cousin had, I think, the Super GoBot of Leader 1, and I was so jealous.
Yeah. I just posted on our little chat thing links to the 2 Machine Robo toys that you can now pre-order.
gonna be so awesome.
And they
Oh,
are.
look at that! Look at Psych Hill. Oh, he's
Is that
awesome.
not amazing looking?
He's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Rod Drill.
Is
I had him.
Screwhead was
Yep.
his GoBot name. Yep, I have both
Anyway.
of these guys pre-ordered.
I could
I
sit
do,
here and talk about this all night.
I do remember my first Transformers, though. I do not
Really?
remember my first Star Wars, but I do remember my first Transformers. It was Christmas, and I got the first 4 Dinobots that were released.
Oh,
Nice.
cool.
So yeah, I got Snarl, the Stegosaurus, Sludge, at the time Brontosaurus, Slag, the Triceratops, and of course Grimlock, the T-Rex.
It's pretty awesome. Sideswipe was my first.
Oh, okay.
Sideswipe was cool. Yep. I remember like my first 3, but I don't remember what order. The first one I ever had was Bumblebee.
Yeah.
I got Bumblebee, and my brother got Cliffjumper. But the first like bigger Transformer I got was either Starscream or Smokescreen.
Oh, okay.
The Smokescreen was the blue race car, right?
Yes.
I believe. Yeah.
Yes.
He was awesome. He's one of my favorites. When they started re-releasing Transformers 15 years ago,
Yeah.
I was so excited when he finally came out because he was just like all the feels.
Yep.
So much nostalgia for that character.
That's funny.
But the Autobot toys, those Autobots were great.
Yeah.
They were really great. I mean, the Decepticons, there were some good Decepticons as well, but that first run, that early run, the Autobots were the ones that were really great.
Oh, Soundwave, though, and
Soundwave was awesome.
Devastator, Megatron.
Devastator wasn't the first run, though.
No,
I mean, it
no.
was all part of the G1, but when you talk about, like, that sort of
Yeah,
first
the-
wave of Transformers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although again, a cousin had Optimus Prime. I never owned an Optimus Prime when I was a kid, which is such a bummer.
Really?
No,
Oh man.
never had Optimus Prime, never had Megatron.
Oh jeez.
I had to go over to my cousin's house so that my Autobots had a leader.
I still have my Prime. I still have my Megatron. I even got the Power Master Optimus Prime with
Nice.
the all the big armor that.
I have him now, but that was the re-release.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm a big nerd. Okay,
Yes.
let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Before we do that, though, I just want to call out. Yes, Kevin Larrabee's Back in My Play is coming back. Recorded an episode with him this past week, and I'm not going to say what the topic was because I don't think he's actually revealed that yet. But it was awesome. It was a great show. We also had Kurt Kalata on there from Hardcore Gamer 101.
Oh,
It was
cool.
always fun to talk to. Well, I shouldn't say always. I've never spoken to him before, but it was a lot of fun to talk to him.
Hardcore Gamer 101 is outstanding, though.
A fantastic resource.
Yes.
And also on the latest Retronauts that's out right now, talking about the Sega Master System.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Go listen. Go give it a listen. Anything else you guys want to plug before we do the outro?
Phil?
Yes.
I didn't want to jump in first, but I will.
Okay.
My blog is videogamememories.wordpress.com. It's updated every week and hopefully multiple times a week, so check that out.
There you go.
Where
If
can people find you on Twitter, by the way? Do you have Twitter?
Oh, yeah, it's Ethan_Einhorn.
It's creative.
Hey, and if you want to hear me talk more about toys, you can check out the Points of Articulation podcast. So, with me and my pal and former Nintendo Power comrade Justin Chang. So, we talk about Transformers and Legos mostly. Oh, I'm sorry, we talk about Transformers and Lego bricks.
No GoBots?
There's my love of GoBots is pretty well documented on that show.
Sweet.
Don't worry. Don't you worry about that. So,
All right. That's our show for this week. Thanks for listening. I don't remember what CJ says here, but I know he plugs the website, so please head over to www.player1podcast.com, where you can find notes about the show, blog entries about Sega CD games. I just released one about NHL 94 this past week, with some really fascinating information in there that I mostly gleaned from an article by Blake J. Harris over at Read Only Memory, so please go check it out. And also, you can get updates on Generation 16. But the most important part about our website is the forum, where our fantastic community of listeners does nothing but write intelligent forum posts, and that's why we love them. But in all seriousness, we have a great community, and I love our forum. I enjoy being there, and I'm so proud of what it's grown into. So come join us. Talk about games, talk about movies, talk about losing weight, maybe even talk about the show once in a while if you listen. I know a lot of them don't, and that's cool. Hurts a little bit, but that's cool.
Why would you waste your time?
I think that's it.
If you'd like to subscribe to the Player One Podcast, you can do so by visiting player1podcast.com or by going to the iTunes Music Store. While you're at the iTunes Music Store, you can also invest $1.99.
Cheap.
Pick up the Player One Podcast iPhone application. Gives you one-touch communication with us via the emails, the Twitters, what have you. Yes, of all of our episodes ready to stream right to your listening device. And hey, Android cell phone telephone users, Player One Podcast iPhone application is available for your listening device as well for that same $1.99.
Also cheap.
You find that right over there at the Amazon Android Marketplace. We're also on Stitcher Radio. You can like us on Facebook. You can see archives of our show and watch us broadcast live most weeks right over there at the YouTubes. Go to youtube.com/P1Podcast. Follow our Twitter account to find out when we will be broadcasting our next live show. And if you've liked what you've heard, and how could you can head over to Player One Podcast's very own Patreon page, patreon.com/P1Podcast. Throw a few shekels our way. It helps CJ fly to more gaming conventions, leaving us in the lurch.
Live his jet-set Playboy lifestyle.
What a jerk.
What a jerk. Before we wrap, can I make one quick public service announcement to parents the world over?
What was that?
Okay, so when you're a parent, you tend to watch lots of animated films. That's just how it goes, right? And sometimes you're lucky and it's something like Pixar.
When you're a parent.
So just always check Metacritic, and above all else, avoid Norm of the North, which just came out. If I had checked the user reviews, Metacritic saw that it was at a 1.2 and read that someone said, "Oh dear God, this movie is worse than AIDS."
Oh my God!
I would have probably chosen something else.
That's great.
I forget what movie I was seeing. Certainly, it was an animated movie that I saw in the theater, and they had a trailer for that. That apparently, I guess, got a theatrical release.
It did, yes.
For like a day or two, because I did see a trailer for it, and it looked like one of those. It's CG.
Yep.
But it's like the dollar bin at the Walmart.
Yes. It's right there. Voiced by Rob Schneider, though. It is.
That makes it better.
There's your.
So that's my
FMV stands for funny with my voice. Rob Schneider.
So that's just my public service announcement for the week. I hope I've saved some people a couple of hours of their lives.
Nice. That was the funny with my voice thing. That's referencing some crappy full motion video game for the PC that Rob Schneider was in back in the day.
No such thing. No such thing as a crappy full motion video game.
One starring Rob Schneider?
Touche.
A Fork in the Tail is the name of that game.
All right, let's wrap it up.
I'm just saying, you might want to check out A Fork in the Tail.
Got Game of Thrones to watch. Let's go.
All right. Thank you, Greg. Thanks, Phil.
Well, hold on. I didn't get a chance to plug Generation 16.
I'm for Phil to finish his...
Yeah.
I appreciate your compliance.
I guess Ethan doesn't care, Greg, about Generation 16.
I know, right? Well, you know what? Somebody here had to be like that. I mean, CJ's not here.
Exactly. If you have a couple bucks left over, head over to generation-16.com. Throw a few bucks at Greg Stewart's way to help support his fantastic web series. Generation 16 is going to be very useful for you when all these Sega Genesis Hub comes to Steam. You're going to want to know what to play.
Goddamn right.
The histories of these fantastic games. So there you go. Good
Thanks,
stuff.
Phil.
Your show is great as always. The new episode, of course, went up a couple weeks ago, and it's fantastic.
I got about 10 minutes of the next episode already finished.
Nice.
Yeah.
How did you like the new episode, Ethan? What was your favorite part?
I have not tuned into it quite yet,
Oh,
but I
that's
will.
weird. Huh? What do you know? Okay,
Phil,
that's crazy.
you
Yeah,
keep me going.
I'm the only one here who does,
Yep.
apparently.
I
Did you see
appreciate it.
the new Crontendo's out? Speaking of,
I did. Yes, I watched that today.
yeah, I'm about halfway through it right now.
Some good stuff in there.
Good
Some
stuff
bad
too. There's a guy who really knows how to do a chronological web series about video games. You know?
I aspire to be anywhere near him.
I aspire to be anywhere near you, but not in regards to creating web series.
Saving those air miles.
Mm-hmm.
So cute. So moist.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, gross.
Next week.
Let's do it.
Next week, boyos. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Toodaloo.
Bye-bye.